Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Dennis. So this week's video was supposed to be about RGB Fusion, but I'm having some issues with that, so that might be coming up soon. This week's video is how to partition your hard drive, how to hard that partition afterward. There is a DOS part that you can do all basic same functions, but it's a little bit more in depth and I didn't want to confuse anybody. But if you want to see a video on that, let me know. Basically, we're going to show you how to create or split your hard drive. So if you got a 4 terabyte hard drive and you go, well, I kind of want to separate my games from my schoolwork or whatever it might be, I'll show you how to separate them, show you how to hide that volume if you want to keep my secret stash stuff on it, and how to get them back. And yeah, let's get into it. So let's bring up File Explorer, and we're going to go down to where it says this PC. Now, sometimes you can right click and click on Manage and it'll open it up. Or if that doesn't work, you can come up here and just click on Manage up here. So we'll try the right clicking here first. Click on Manage. If nothing happens, and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so great, it opened up. So now we're going to click on what's called Disk Management. Okay, so in here, I'm just going to minimize this, expand this. So you can see our C drive here, our D drive, and E drive. So I've already split a 2 terabyte drive into two 1 terabytes up here. We have some empty spots here not being used. We have our C drive. Some of these other partitions are created when you get your hard drive. And when you're using an SSD, sometimes it'll create a partition for recovery, that kind of thing. So we are going to start with our part here that's unallocated. So because it's unallocated, we can right click, we can go New Simple Volume, and we can create it. But we're not going to do that right now. We'll show you that after. What we're going to do right now is go to our C drive. We're going to right click, and it's going to give us shrink volume, all that kind of good stuff. But we don't want to do that. Okay, so I put this volume here, the empty volume F. Okay, so let's go back. So I created this empty volume here, so I know that there's nothing there. So even though we got empty volume here, you can create another drive. You can create a G drive, or you would think you'd be able to go here and then just add this part onto it. But because you've got something standing in between, it won't let you do that. Now, you can do that if you have specialized software like Partition Magic is one that I remember from years ago. I don't know if it still exists, but I think it does. You would have been able to go here, go right click, and go extend volume. But because we got one standing in the way, it's not going to let us do that. So we're going to go here to the F drive. We're going to right click, and we're going to go delete volume. So we're going to delete. It's going to warn us that deleting that volume, if there's anything there, it's gone. And it could potentially have impact on your system. So be sure it's not being used by anything before you delete it. So we're going to say yes. And you can see it automatically extended our volume here. So now because we've got this one and we have some more space here, if I go to the C drive and I right click, I go extend volume, and it's going to say okay. So you click next, and it's going to say extended it by, so you want to extend it by this amount here, so the 187.25. But it's asking you maximum space allowed. So what if we say next? Let's just do that. Complete the extending of the volume. So what it's doing is actually it's taking the 1674, adding the 187 to give you the extra volume. So basically it took your C drive, it's adding the empty space to create this volume. So let's click finish. And now that's what we got. One big C drive. There you can see now I have more space, the same space on D and E, but now C volume, by taking out the space that wasn't being used, I've extended it and I've made it bigger. And that basically is called partitioning. And that's all we're doing. So I am going to show you how to split that again. So let's go right click on your C drive and let's go shrink volume. So you want to make it smaller in size. You want to make it half that size because you want to have just only your operating system and whatever else is on your C drive already. And then you want another blank space like we had already. So we go shrink volume. So now it's doing its own calculations here. It's going to say, okay, well, how much can we shrink it? And it's going to come up and it's going to tell you. And it'll take a little bit of time, so don't worry about that. Because that's what this is, querying the volume for the available space, or shrink space they call it. And once it's determined how much space is there that you can shrink it, it'll come up and tell you. So it's automatically calculated it, so you can go shrink. So let's see what happens. Now you gotta be careful, you're messing with your C drive now, so don't mess with it if you're not sure. So it's doing this for us, so you just have to wait and just be patient. Okay, so there it shrunk it back to a smaller size, and it's left us 537 gigabyte, well, 537.98 gigabyte of unallocated space. So if you wanted to use that now, because you want to have this just for, I don't know, you want to put information in there, but you want to keep it private, we'll say. So you can go on here, you go New Simple Volume, click Next, say Next again, just to accept the whole thing. It'll give a drive letter. And you can just call it Test. Or, well, whatever you want to call it. It's going to perform a quick format, so if you have this and you're doing this process, make sure you don't have anything on there because it will get rid of it. So click Next and Finish. So now, what if you want to put all your data? Okay, so it's going to come up, show you, there's your test drive. Nothing's there, so close this again. Now, if you go on Properties, okay, it shows you everything about it, all the different things you can do with it. So now the little bit that we took care of, we're going to remove it now. So we're going to go Delete Volume. We know there's nothing there, so we'll say yes. And now it's unallocated. Okay, we're going to go back here again. We're going to go Extend Volume. Click Next. Accept whatever it comes up with, because it'll just basically come up with this amount. Say Next again. Click Finish. And you're good. And that pretty much is all there is to partitioning a hard drive. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is how to hide a partition. Okay, so right now I've got this as a hidden partition. So that's what I've called it. So I'm going to go right click, change drive letter and path. I'm going to go remove. It's going to warn me some programs on the letter might not run correctly. And are you sure you want to remove? So say yes. It'll still show up here, but when you go to File Explorer, you just have your C, D, and E. The other one doesn't show up. So if you want to get it back in here, right click on it again, change drive letter and path, click Add, and you can choose whatever drive letter you want, but it will probably choose the one that will work for you. Click OK, and the drive letter is now back. Go back to your File Explorer, and now you can see, you have to do a refresh, that the hidden partition is there. Now you could rename that anything, so let's go back up here and just Properties. So go to Properties, and you can go in here where it says Hide Partition, and you can call it whatever you want. You can call it your secret drive. Click Apply, click OK. It's renamed. So you can do that whatever you want. So again, to get rid of it so people can't see it. Now they'll be able to see it here in Disk Management, but a lot of people don't know to check that. So you can go change drive letter and path, click remove, say OK, and it's gone. It'll still show here, but it will not show in your File Explorer. So if somebody's in here trying to mess around with your stuff, and like you don't want them to delete your folders and stuff, or format it or anything like that, now they can't do it. So you want it back, right click again, change driver letter and path, click add. It'll automatically pick one for you, or you can pick your own, like I said. Click OK. And then when you go to File Explorer again, don't forget to hit the F5 to refresh your page. And now your secret drive is right there. And that is just a couple of different things. There are other ways to do it. I'll quickly show you those. So I'm just going to minimize this. If you go to your Start menu, right click, you can go up to Computer Management, and it's going to bring up the same thing. Okay. Now, a couple other things that I wasn't going to show, but why not, is you can go to your Device Manager from in here. You can go to Performance, see all the different, how everything's working, different reports. You can go to Local Users and Groups and show all that kind of information. You can go to Shared Files, Event Viewers, so you can see what's been going on with your drives. You can go Open Saved Logs. You can schedule a task in here. That's a whole nother video. But you can schedule something to happen on your computer from within here. And it'll just do it based on what you've told it to do. Just by going over here and going create basic task. Well, like I said, that's for another video. If you want to see that, let me know. That's just another way to get to the management. So last thing I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this. So I am going to go delete volume. Yep. It's now there. So now I'm going to go back to my C drive. I'm going to extend my volume. Click next. Next again. And finish. And now I've got a lot more space on my C drive. That's it. So another way to go about getting and doing this is through the DOS prompts. So I'm not going to get into that in this video because it can get complex and it might confuse people. So you can right click on the Start button. You can go to Command Prompt Admin. Yes. And then there are commands from within here. Like I say, I'm not going to get in and show it because I don't want to have people messing with their systems and potentially cause havoc. If you want to see this though, if you want a separate video on how to do this part of it, let me know. But this is more for when you're working within the command prompt. It's a little bit more on the advanced side of things. So I don't want to get into that and start showing processes that people aren't familiar with or maybe just don't even want to know about. So there are ways to go in here and create your different things you want to do, like edit your registry and all that kind of good stuff. So I just wanted to show that to you. All right, everybody. So if you like that video, hit that like. If you don't, you know what to do. Hit that bell for future notifications so you see videos as they come up. Tell me what you thought. If there's something I left out, I'll probably try and put it in for another video later on. Try to show it as well as I can. It's a very process that you have to be very careful with because you don't want to delete data. Because if there's data on there, you don't want to just get rid of it because you needed more space, but then realize that you got to put it all back on. Maybe you don't have it backed up, whatever the case might be. However, when you do hide the drive, you're not losing your data. Okay, it's all going to stay there. It's not formatting it, nothing like that. It will still be there later on. When you bring it back and give it that drive letter, everything's the same as it was before. So that's why I would suggest trying to remember what the drive letter was. Try to use the same one, although it shouldn't really matter. It'll still work. It's just if you have connections with other programs somewhere else that link to it, that might cause a problem. So just be aware of that. So, thanks for watching.